Man, I watched one of that bald black guy's tailoring tutorials and I ruined my clothes. What do I do? Did you tailor something and it's way too tight and you think you ruined it? You didn't ruin anything. Relax. You haven't done any cutting yet, and even then, there's still workarounds around that. Speaking of mistakes, I've made plenty in my life, so listen up close because I'm gonna help you avoid some of these too. Mistakes are fixable, but we need this. Oh, hang on. This. It's a seam ripper, and it can fix your mistakes in about 5 seconds. And I'm gonna show you 2 ways on how you can use it. My goodness, being way too shy. That was me my whole life. And I missed out on so many opportunities because I was just too afraid to ever speak up or open my mouth. When I was in high school, I had this massive crush on this girl named Anna. And my dumb butt just decided, all right, well, I'm never gonna say anything because I have a 0% chance, right? Well, guess what? I did have a chance because our paths crossed way later in life, and we kind of started talking about school and what it was like and all that kind of stuff. And she was like, oh my gosh, you were so funny. I really liked you in high school. You were a really cool guy. How come we never like hung out or anything? And I'm like, we could have done that? Man, if I had a time machine, I don't think I would go back to that time because I feel like there's something a little bit of more significance to, benefit the world to go back and do that. But that'd be my number 2, that's for sure. I have done this so many times where I'll be lazy about something, or I'll be inaccurate with my measuring, or inaccurate with my straight stitch, and then I go try on my garment and I'm like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. This looks ridiculous. Are you ready? Start where you made your back stitch and cut away all that stitching right there. And then cut away a few stitches on your seam. Now that you did that, you can pull apart those 2 pieces of fabric that you see, and you can see the stitches in there slightly pulling at themselves, right? Yes, okay, that's good. Now, this is when you're gonna start to cut away at all that stitching, but here's the thing. You want the red ball to be facing down. Just keep pushing along with that red ball facing down, which is going to prevent you from cutting your garment, and that stitch is gonna be out in like 2 seconds. Becoming good with money, and that is the number 1 life skill that everyone needs to learn, managing money. Because let me tell you, if you don't manage your money is gonna manage you. I used to play this really responsible adult game called Figure It Out Later with money. My plan was, well, I'm gonna buy the things that I want right now and, I'm gonna figure out my bills later. They'll work themselves out, right? Everything will be fine. I started using this incredible budgeting software called YNAB, or You Need a Budget. Not sponsored at all. I just love it so much that I want everyone to know about it. It literally changed my life and how I manage money. Holy smokes, check it out. And while you're at it, won't you say hello to Auntie Dogs? The second way to use this seam ripper is to, again, cut away all that back stitching that you made. And now find the bottom portion of your stitch, which is the stitch that the bobbin made, which is basically gonna be underneath your garment. Give a couple of those stitches a few cuts, just a few, just a couple. Now on the other side of your garment, make a couple more stitches where that top stitch is, and then just pull it all right out. It's just gonna come out, poof. 2 common stitches that you're going to use or come across that are absolute polar opposites when it comes to using a seam ripper are going to be a basting stitch and a chain stitch. Let's say you want to tailor something and you're not really sure about the measurements. You're not sure if you're going to be happy with the fit. Well, what do? Do you just hope for the best and dive in? No, that's where the basting stitch comes into play. You can use a basting stitch, which is where you set the stitch tension on your machine super loose. You set the stitch length as long as it will go, and that stitch that you just made on your garment is basically doing nothing. It's kind of holding it together, but not very much, so it's gonna do just enough to give you a good general idea of the fit of that garment. So if you wanna use a basting stitch on, let's say, a t-shirt, dress shirt, jeans, chinos, and you're not too sure about the fit, put a basting stitch in there and you're gonna say, okay, I like it. Or, no, that is way too much. I made that way too tight. Since that basting stitch is super loose, it's gonna cut right out with a seam ripper. Having the courage to say, I don't like what it is that I'm doing in life and I wanna do something different. I had no idea what I wanted to do in life for the longest time, but what I did know is what I didn't wanna do. See, I worked at a pizza place for a number of years and it was a great job, really awesome people, I made really good money at that time, but the thing is there's no growth. There's no growth in the service industry. It's not something you're gonna end up retiring off of, so it's like, well, what do? You gotta figure it out. And doing something different in life, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And the problem with that is if you actually do something different, you're gonna get a lot of hate and a lot of flack for it and a lot of pushback. But if you do the different thing that people expect you to do, then everything's all good and great. Let me elaborate on that a little bit. I make tutorials on YouTube teaching people how to tailor their own clothes. Boy, oh boy, is that different. This is one of the coolest things. I can't even believe it sometimes. I make tutorials and there's people in like Ukraine and Russia and Angola and all these countries all over the world. They're like, hey, I really like your tutorials, man. And I'm like, I'm a dude who lives in Minnesota and you, all the way there, you guys are watching them? That's dope. So just have the courage to push through and do something different and you will thank yourself later. Oh, now for the opposite, a chain stitch. A chain stitch is, well, it's great, it's amazing. A chain stitch is when your sewing machine, instead of moving forward indefinitely on a straight stitch, what it's going to do is it's gonna go forward, forward, back, forward, forward, back. Every single time it goes backwards, it locks into that previous stitch, creating, I'll give you one guess. One guess. It's a chain. It's super strong. It's great for jeans, denim, canvas, leather, things like that, but there's a big downside. You better make sure that you're happy with that stitch because yes, you can take it out with a seam ripper, but go ahead and settle in for the long haul because it's gonna take you like 30 minutes. It's ridiculous. Hey, look at that. Your biggest fear about tailoring your own clothes is now gone. Making mistakes, because those mistakes are easy to fix. What do you say we go tailor a blazer? Yes, it's a blazer. It's not a suit jacket. That'll make more sense once you get over there. That video is in the end card. I'll see you over there. SD out. See ya.